Good evening, folks. Out here on the porch again tonight. It's Sunday night. Probably post this on Monday morning, but we'll see. Just enjoying this CAO Amazon Basin. I think I talked a few weeks ago. I found one in a cigar shop. I found the last two. I bought one for myself and one for a friend of mine. And it was pretty good, pretty dang good. I've heard a lot about them. I've never seen one in person. Seen them, on YouTube, people reviewing them. But so I went ahead and got both of them, and I liked it so much. I went online and actually they're sold out everywhere because I think it's a limited release. But I found a place with a box. I think I told you. So I got the box a few weeks ago. Had them resting in the humidor. But after I bought the box, I'm like, well, I hope this box is as good as the one I smoked, because it was a little pricey. I usually don't spend that kind of money on cigars, and I usually don't buy boxes, because by the time you're done smoking them, you're kind of done with the cigar. But you don't ever see these anywhere. It ain't like I could just go anywhere and pick one up. So I figured, you know what, I'll just spread them out over time and smoke one every few months until they're gone. But I was hoping it was going to be as good as that one, and it is. Glad I bought them. I'm going to enjoy this tonight. I'm also drinking it with some Blanton's. Everybody knows Blanton's with the horse there. And it's pretty good. I know a lot of people like it. A lot of people bang on it because of its, everybody was hunting it back a couple years ago. And probably still do, I guess. But just because everybody wants it doesn't mean you don't have to dislike it or say it's not good. It's reasonably priced. If you can get it for MSRP, it's a damn good bourbon. Now, was it worth what people were paying for it a few years ago? No, probably not. But there's a lot of bourbons out there that people pay too much for, in my opinion. And some of them, sadly, that's what the distillery sells them for. So it's not even markup. Some of these recent Wild Turkey products to me are just way overpriced, but they're good, but they're not what they're asking for it, in my opinion. But you got to make that decision. But anyway, I went to a liquor store today and they had Blanton's Eagle Rare was out on the floor. They had E.H. Taylor and a ton of Buffalo Trace, all of it for about MSRP, some of it just out on the shelf. So at least with Buffalo Trace products, looks like things are getting pretty good out there if you're into that kind of stuff. So I have another backup bottle of it that I hadn't drank it a whole lot because I didn't want to drink it all, and I was trying to save it, and enjoy it. But now that I see it's out there, I figured I'd go ahead and have some. But anyway, pretty good. Tonight I wanted to talk about something that I've been working on for a long time, and I think most people are guilty of it. But I think as you get older, well, sometimes you get a little more cantankerous when you get older, but a lot of us mellow out when we get older, and you start to realize we don't know everything. We like to, when you're young, you know it all, and as you get older, you realize just how much you don't know. And it sometimes it's hard for some people to admit, but it's a fact. Most of us don't know crap. We're doing the best we can. The one thing that I was bad about, and I still am, but I'm working on it, is giving people grace. People, whether you know them or don't know them, people who, are rude or, in traffic, the whole road raging or, cutting you off or, speeding up to getting, I used to get so angry, and I still do, But so now I try to let myself think, maybe that person is going through something. Maybe there's a reason that they act like they do. You don't know what people are going through in their life or what they've been through to make them the way they are. That doesn't mean you need to be a doormat, but it also doesn't mean you need to react to everything everybody does to you. We all make mistakes, every one of us. I made a ton in my life, and I haven't always treated people the way I should have. I've tried to, but I can think back to to several that I have a little regret with. And I think if we're all honest, we all going to be in that boat. None of us are angels. None of us are perfect. But, sometimes we need to think before we react, which is difficult. But I think if you make it your mindset to kind of, when people do something that doesn't sit right with you, or you think is rude or overreaction or something, just take a minute to think about it before you react. A lot of times, particularly in driving, okay, what good does it do? What good does it do to cut people off and get them back? I mean, what are you really accomplishing? And I'll be honest with you, being in law enforcement, I don't do this. You don't know who's in that other car or what, when you get out to act like you're some kind of Billy Badass, what they got in store for you. You just, is it worth it? Or do you just go ahead and let them get in front of you and go on wherever they're going to go? To me, these days, I just let them go wherever they're going to go. I don't worry about it. If I'm on a personal vehicle, or even in the car, in the work car, I don't, unless it's, something dangerous, I usually don't mess with it, because what good is it going to do? If it's dangerous, and then clearly, but if it's just somebody, a little bit, I don't like the way they did something, but it's not, I can't worry about it. I can't. But particularly, most people, they don't, all they think about is themselves, me included. Somebody does something to you, says something to you, and your immediate knee-jerk reaction is to come back with more force, or more, get them back. And it's not always worth the effort, in my opinion, now that I look at it. And sometimes you do that, and then you get to know, or talking to them, or hearing, or talking, if it's somebody you start hearing through the grapevine that they're going through a little something, and you're like, oh, dang, now I feel bad, because it's probably just wasn't me, or wasn't the situation. They got some stuff going on they need to deal with, and maybe they needed a little grace. There are times when I've needed the grace, and some people gave it to me, and some people didn't. And but I understood that the reaction I got really wasn't the reaction to me. It was my overreaction to a situation sometimes. And I think we need to understand that other people in that situation too. Other people are dealing with stuff, and other people have things going on that are bothering them. And the incident at hand is really minor, but this other thing over here, it makes it seem major, or makes it seem like a big deal. Whereas to you or I, it's not. And you're like, what are you doing? Why are you acting crazy over this little incident? Well, it's not usually the incident. It's some other things going on. And like I said, you don't have to be a doormat. You don't have to let people talk to you and treat you bad and things like that. All I'm saying is understand that sometimes people got things going on in their lives that are beyond their control. Sometimes it's their own fault. Whatever it is, if it's impacted them to where they're not reacting in a normal way to a minor situation, it's bothering them. And I think sometimes we need to understand that give people some grace and give people a little bit of space. And a lot of times they'll come, and not all the time, but I've found that they'll come and apologize for how they acted if you just give them some space. Um, or they'll come tell you that, hey, that really wasn't about that. I've got this other thing going on, and it's got me messed up, and I can think of some specific situations that where that's happened, and and I was glad that I did give them the space, and they appreciated it, and it kind of made the whole relationship better. So um, just give that a little thought in the future. You know, whether you know the people or don't, or some people are just jerks. I mean, there's no there's no doubt about that. But not everybody who acts treats us bad is a jerk. Sometimes it's other things, and in the end, think about what does it really matter, you know, or can I just walk away from this and not worry about it? Which most of the time you can. A lot of times it's just our pride, you know, that keeps us from just walking away and letting things go. Can't let this guy get in front of me, you know, in traffic, because then it's like I lost. And what did you really lose? Nothing. That guy ain't thinking about you 10 seconds down the road, and you shouldn't be thinking about him. And like I said, I'm guilty of this. I'm just as guilty. I'm working on it, but as I've gotten older, I've found it easier to let things go. I think, you know, like I said earlier, as you age, some men become more crotchety, some men become more mellow. I'm definitely becoming more mellow, more patient. Um, I think you don't have patience for things, but my reaction to them is different. Whereas I used to take an action against something that was bothering me. Now I think about, is this really worth it? And 9 times out of 10, it's not. And I just walk away or leave it alone or ignore it and don't think about it again. And I'm a happier man for it. But give it some thought. If you've got some situations in your life where you recognize that, or maybe you're a better man than me and you don't, you know, you've always taken that into consideration. If you do, my hat's off to you. But that hasn't been me. And I'm working on it to be better. But I just thought sometimes we need to hear things like that and give us a little something to think about, something to work on, and to make us better folks to the people around us. But anyway, I'm enjoying this here, this Amazon basin. The draw on it is perfect. I always use that V cut. I think I've talked about it before. I've got this Calibri V cutter. I got it at a cigar shop one time. When I was checking out, they had them, and it was a little pricey, but you know, I said, you know, I'm gonna give that a try. I've always had the cheapo guillotine cutter, you know, the 2-finger one, and it worked. But I always wanted one of these, so I bought it, and now that's all I use. I really don't use anything else. Excuse me. But it always, to me, it gives you more service area. I don't know if that's true, but you always get a good draw with these things. I've found I have very few anymore. You end up with a tight draw to where, you know, you're working at it every now and then, and that's annoying as heck. But one trick with those, because I don't even have a punch. Some people have a punch. I've never had one. I need to get one. But I've always just, if you do this, you kind of squeeze it a little bit, not hard, but just kind of, it seems to loosen it up sometimes. You know, I don't know what it does. It probably just moves the filler around in there. But that tight draw will open up if you just give it a few squeezes up and down like that. And like I said, not real hard. You're not crushing it, just a little bit of, you feel it give a little. The other thing I do is, as I'm smoking these things, I kind of turn them. And sometimes I touch them up. You'll hear me lighting them while I'm talking, but that's because I get obsessive about it. But usually, if I'm sitting here just smoking one without video, I usually don't touch them up a whole lot because I pay more attention to it. And holding it like this too, like in between, if you're not taking puffs, seems to keep the burn even. I don't know why. I don't know if there's anything to that. It's just something I've seen, and some of the guys do on these channels, and I found it works for me, but I don't know if there's any science behind it. The other thing that surprised me, and I think it was on Cigars Daily with Tim on that YouTube channel one time, and he said up until the video I saw like last year, I always think, well, if this side's, if you're getting a little uneven burn, you put the part that's burning faster down and the part that's not on top, and heat rises and it'll catch it. Makes sense, right? Well, no. Some cigar manufacturer, I can't remember which one it was, but if I said his name, you'd know him. Can't remember, but he says, no, you put the side that's burning more up and the side that's not down, and it actually will even it out. So I've tried it, and dang if it doesn't work. And it's so weird because, heat rises, surely it'll burn it faster at the top, but that's not apparently what happens. And the other thing that keeps things even is not puffing too much on it, which I'm bad about. I'm bad about that. But when you don't, and you get a lot better even burn. But anyway, just a couple of things I've learned over the years, and it's come in handy. You'll do that. You might have some other ideas about it, but so it works for me. Anyway, you guys have a good evening, and we will talk to you later this week.